The American dream has four wheels, a beautiful driveway, a shiny new SUV, that new car smell, and that feeling that says, I made it.
But what if we told you that for millions of Americans, that dream is quietly turning into a financial nightmare? Because today, many people don't own their cars. Their cars own them.
The average monthly car payment in America is now getting dangerously close to $800 per month. And here's the scary part. Most people never ask the question that actually matters.
They ask, can I afford the monthly payment? Instead of asking, what is this car actually going to cost me?
Today, we're breaking the entire system apart, because by the end of this video, you may never look at car payments the same way again.
Let's imagine something. You walk into a dealership, you see the perfect SUV. Maybe it's a beautiful new Toyota RAV4. Maybe it's a Honda CR-V. Maybe it's something even more expensive. You've already fallen in love with it, and the salesperson knows it.
Now, watch what happens. You ask, how much does it cost? But notice something interesting. They almost never answer, the car costs $40,000. Instead, they ask, what monthly payment are you comfortable with? Seems innocent, but this question changes everything. Because now you stopped buying a car and you've started buying a payment.
Let's do simple math. Let's say the vehicle price is $40,000. You want a payment of $550 per month. The dealership says, no problem. Suddenly, you feel relief. You feel like you won. But did you?
Let's see what happened. 48-month loan. 550 times 48 equals $26,400. Clearly not enough. So what happens? They stretch it. 72 months. 550 times 72 equals $39,600. Still close. Let's stretch more. 84 months. 550 times 84 equals $46,200. And remember, that doesn't even include everything. Taxes, fees, interest, extra products, insurance.
You thought you bought a $40,000 car, but now you're paying over $46,000, $50,000 plus for something losing value every day. And here's where things become dangerous, because cars don't behave like houses. Cars usually don't go up, they go down, fast.
Let's imagine you buy that $40,000 vehicle today. You drive it home. Tomorrow morning, you decide to sell it. Do you think it's still worth $40,000? No. Immediately, the value drops. Then year 1, year 2, year 3. Maybe now it's worth $25,000. Maybe less. But look at your loan balance. You still owe $33,000.
Now you have a problem. You owe $33,000 on something worth $25,000. You are now $8,000 upside down, negative equity.
And this is where people quietly enter a cycle, because many don't keep cars for 7 years. They trade them after 3 or 4. So now they bring that negative balance into another loan. $8,000 becomes rolled into the next vehicle, then again, then again, then again. And suddenly, people wonder, why am I always paying for cars?
Because many people aren't paying for one car. They're paying for 3 cars at the same time. The current car, the previous car, and part of the next car. Okay, at this point you might be thinking, so what am I supposed to do? Never buy a car? No, cars aren't the problem. Bad math is the problem, because there's a simple rule that quietly protects people from making massive mistakes, and most people have never heard of it. It's called the 24-10 rule. 3 numbers, that's it. And these 3 numbers can save you tens of thousands of dollars.
Let's start with the first number, 20. This means put down at least 20% as a down payment. Now, some people immediately say, wait, that's a lot of money. Maybe. But let's see why. Let's go back to our example. Car price, $40,000. 20% down, $8,000. So instead of financing $40,000, you're financing $32,000. Seems simple, but watch this.
Remember what we said earlier? Cars lose value quickly. Let's say your new vehicle drops 15% during the first year. $40,000 times 15% equals $6,000. Your car is now worth $34,000. But because you started with an $8,000 down payment, you are still above water. You still have breathing room. You're protected.
But imagine putting almost nothing down, maybe 1,000, maybe zero. Now your loan balance is huge, the vehicle drops value, and suddenly you owe more than it's worth. You've entered negative equity territory without even realizing it.
Now, let's talk about the second number, 4. This means finance for no more than 4 years, 48 months. Now, I know what many people are thinking, but everyone does 72 months now. Some people do 84. Yes, and that's exactly the problem, because long loans create an illusion.
Let's do simple math. Imagine loan amount $32,000 at around 6% interest, 48 months, monthly payment roughly $750, total paid roughly $36,000. Now stretch it, 72 months, payment around $530. Looks immediately exciting. Wow, I just saved over $200 every month. Did you? No. Watch carefully. Total paid around $38,000. Now stretch again, 84 months, payment about $470. Looks even better, but total paid becomes over $40,000.
So what just happened? You looked at monthly pain instead of total pain. Your payment dropped, but your total cost increased. That's the trap.
Now let's talk about the final number, 10. This means all transportation costs should stay below 10% of your gross monthly income. And this is where people make a huge mistake, because they only count the car payment. They forget everything else. Insurance, gas, maintenance, registration, repairs, taxes.
Let's imagine someone earns $6,000 per month before taxes. 10% equals $600. That means your total transportation budget should ideally stay near $600, not just the payment, everything.
Now let's see reality. Car payment, $550. Insurance, $180. Gas, $150. Maintenance, $70. Total, $950.
That's almost 16% of income, not 10, and many Americans are paying even more. Now think about this. That extra $350 every month becomes $4,200 every year. Over 5 years, that's $21,000.
$21,000. Not because of a bad car, not because of bad luck, because of bad math.
And here's the crazy part. Most people never see this happening because nobody sends them a bill called money you quietly lost.
But now comes the big question. What actually happens when we compare two people buying the exact same vehicle, one brand new and one used? Because the difference is shocking. And honestly, this next part might completely change how you buy cars forever. Okay, let's run a real-world example, because numbers become much more powerful when we stop talking about theories and start talking about reality. Let's imagine two friends, Jake and Michael. Both want the same type of vehicle, a popular family SUV, something like a Toyota RAV4, reliable, practical, good reputation. Same city, same income, same lifestyle. But they make one different decision.
Jake walks into the dealership and buys a brand new RAV4. Price? $40,000. Meanwhile, Michael buys a 3-year-old RAV4. Price? $25,000. Now, immediately, people say, wait a second, used cars are risky. New cars have warranties. I want peace of mind. Fair point. But let's keep going, because the story is just starting.
Jake drives home feeling amazing. New car smell, 0 miles, perfect paint. Everything feels premium. Then reality starts working quietly in the background, because depreciation never sleeps. Let's assume his new SUV loses around 15% during year 1. 15% of $40,000 equals $6,000. Just like that, the vehicle value drops to $34,000.
Pause for 1 second. Jake didn't see money leave his bank account. Nobody sent him a bill, nobody called him, nothing happened. But mathematically, he just lost $6,000.
Imagine taking $6,000 in cash, walking outside, and setting it on fire. Most people would scream. But because depreciation is invisible, people ignore it.
Now, let's move forward. Year 2. Depreciation continues. Maybe not as aggressively. Let's say another 10%. Value drops again. Now maybe the SUV is worth around $30,000.
Year 3. Another drop. Now the same vehicle may be worth roughly $25,000. Let's stop here. Jake bought $40,000. 3 years later, worth $25,000. Difference? $15,000.
$15,000 disappeared, not because the engine exploded, not because he crashed the car, not because anything went wrong, just because time passed.
Now let's look at Michael. Remember, Michael bought that same SUV already 3 years old. Purchase price, $25,000. The previous owner already absorbed the painful depreciation. Michael entered later.
So now let's imagine Michael also keeps the vehicle for several years. Maybe after 3 more years, the car value drops from $25,000 to $18,000. Difference? $7,000.
Wait, let's compare. Jake lost $15,000. Michael lost $7,000. Jake lost more than double for essentially driving almost the same vehicle.
But wait, depreciation isn't the entire story, because now we need to calculate something called total cost of ownership, or TCO. This is where things become scary.
Let's estimate 5 years. Jake, depreciation, $15,000. Interest, $5,000. Insurance, $10,000. Maintenance, $4,000. Total, $34,000.
Michael, depreciation, $7,000. Interest, $3,000. Insurance, $8,000. Maintenance, $6,000. Total, $24,000.
Difference, $10,000 to $15,000, depending on financing and insurance costs.
And now comes the part that changes everything. Because this isn't just $15,000. That's where most people stop thinking. But money doesn't stop there. Money grows.
Imagine investing that extra $15,000 instead of losing it. Average annual return, 8%. 20 years. That money becomes roughly $70,000.
So your car didn't cost you $15,000. Your car potentially cost you $70,000.
And suddenly, the question changes. Because now you're not asking, should I buy new or used? You're asking, how much future wealth am I willing to sacrifice?
Okay, so now we know the trap. We know where people lose money. But how do smart buyers avoid it? Because the next few minutes might save you thousands before you ever step into a dealership.
Okay, at this point we've exposed the trap. We've seen the hidden cost. We've seen how people quietly lose $10,000, $15,000, sometimes $20,000 without realizing it. Now comes the question everyone asks. Okay, what do I actually do? Because knowing the problem is useful, but having a plan, that's where money starts changing. And there are 3 powerful moves smart buyers use.
The first strategy, never negotiate the monthly payment. Negotiate the out-the-door price. This sounds simple, but it changes the entire game. Because dealerships know something. Most people buy payments, not prices.
Let's imagine this conversation. A salesperson says, "What payment are you looking for?" Most people answer, around $600. Big mistake. Because now the salesperson has room to play. Longer loan, extra fees, more interest, extended warranties, hidden products. Suddenly, they can make almost anything fit into only $600.
Instead, answer like this. I'm not discussing monthly payments. What's the total out-the-door price? That means vehicle price, plus taxes, plus fees, plus everything. No surprises, no games.
Because here's the truth. Two people can both pay $600 monthly, and one person may quietly spend $8,000 more.
Person number 1, $600 monthly for 60 months. Total, $36,000. Person number 2, $600 monthly for 84 months. Total, $50,400.
Same payment, very different reality. Difference, $14,400.
That's almost enough to buy another used car, and many people never notice because they only looked at the monthly number.
Second strategy. Walk into the dealership with financing already prepared. This is called pre-approval. And this move gives you power, because now you're entering as a buyer, not as a target.
Imagine walking in and saying, "My bank already approved me for 5.5%. Now, suddenly, the conversation changes because the dealership knows they can't quietly inflate your financing.
Remember something important. Sometimes dealerships make significant money through financing products, not just through selling vehicles, which means if you're not prepared, you're negotiating against people who play this game every day.
Now let's talk about the most powerful strategy, and also the least exciting one. Ready? Keep your car longer. Way longer.
We live in a culture that constantly says upgrade, trade in, get something newer, get something bigger, get something faster. But wealthy people often think differently.
Let's do simple math. Imagine no car payment, $600 monthly saved. 12 months, $7,200. 3 years, $21,600. 5 years, $36,000.
Think about that. You could literally save enough money to buy another vehicle just by continuing to drive the one you already own.
People sometimes say, "My car is getting old." But here's the question. What's more expensive? A repair bill of $1,500 or a new payment of $700 every month for 7 years?
Because $700 monthly for 7 years equals $58,800.
Suddenly, that repair bill doesn't look so scary anymore.
Now here's where everything comes together. Because what we're about to show next isn't really about cars anymore. It's about something much bigger. Freedom. Let's zoom out for a second, because this was never really about cars. Not really. This was about choices, about understanding the difference between looking wealthy and becoming wealthy. Because millions of people spend years chasing something that feels successful without realizing what it's quietly costing them.
Let's go back to our example. Remember that possible $15,000 difference between buying new and buying smart? Most people hear that number and think, okay, $15,000, and then they move on. But money doesn't work that way, because money has a hidden superpower. It compounds.
Let's do one final calculation. Imagine you take that $15,000. Instead of losing it through unnecessary car costs, you invest it. Average annual return? 8%. 20 years. What happens? It grows to approximately $70,000.
Pause for 1 second, because this is the moment that changes everything. You didn't simply save $15,000, you potentially created $70,000.
Now let's push it further. What if instead of only investing that initial savings, you also invested your old car payment? Let's imagine $600 every month at 8% for 20 years.
The result? Roughly $350,000 plus.
Think about that. $350,000. Not from finding a secret investment, not from winning the lottery, not from becoming a millionaire overnight, just from avoiding unnecessary debt and allowing time to work for you.
And suddenly, the question becomes, would you rather impress strangers for 5 years or create freedom for the next 20? Because freedom looks different. Freedom is not driving a luxury SUV while stressing every month. Freedom is sleeping peacefully. Freedom is having options. Freedom is not worrying about every paycheck. Freedom is knowing that your money is quietly working while you sleep.
And the truth that nobody at the dealership wants to tell you is a car is not an investment. It's a tool that gets you from point A to point B. And tools should help build your future, not quietly destroy it.
The goal isn't to look rich. The goal is to become rich.
Because almost nobody becomes financially free because of a car payment, but many people delay their financial freedom because of one.
If this video changed the way you think about money, make sure you subscribe, because next time we're showing you something even more powerful: how to take the money most people waste and build an investment system where your future portfolio could eventually help pay for your lifestyle.
From debt holder to calm investor, that's the journey. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.